We roll forward, and what happened? Well, we had the pre-budget report on the 9th of December 2009. What did he say then? Not a lot. But there was one very crucial thing that he said. In April 2009, he had announced significant rises to national insurance contributions, but again deferred. He had told us that generally the headline rates would go up by 0.5% with effect from April 2011, and another 0.5% in April 2012. So more pain, but still deferred, still deferred. In the pre-budget report, he told us, actually, he'd had a change of heart about this. Whoopee, we all thought. His change of heart was to deliver the pain rather more quickly. So his proposal as at December 2009 was that national insurance rates would increase across the board by 1%, 1% whether you're an employer, an employee, or self-employed, from the 6th of April 2011. Okay, and I'll deal with all this in much more detail in a moment. Do fear not, but just setting the scene. That's what he said then. What else did he say then? He meddled with these damn rules on pensions. Having introduced the rules that weren't going to come into effect until April 2011, and having introduced these wretched transitional rules, he then started meddling with the transitional rules. He told us that in certain circumstances, if your taxable income was more than £130,000, these new transitional rules would bite you. So that was a peculiar act in my view. So you have transitional rules which not only are they taking us from the pre-22 April 2009 era to the post-5th of April 2011 era, but within that period there are different sets of rules. Very difficult, very difficult. But anyway, hey-ho, that was it. But the headline-grabbing measure in the pre-budget report in December 2009 was the banker's bonus tax. That was the big news. That was what was in all the broadsheets and the red tops, and that's what the Chancellor spoke more about, how it was all the bankers' fault, and it was all their fault for taking big bonuses, so he was going to teach them a right old lesson by taxing their bonuses. If they were more than £25,000. Well, that's history, not going to dwell on that. So we roll forward. There was then a budget on the 24th of March 2010. What kind of budget was that? It was a boring budget. My firm did a budget seminar on the 25th of March 2010, and I had people walking out saying, "This is no good, there's nothing new in this. Tell us something new." And I said, "Well, sorry chaps, I don't write the budget. If I wrote the budget, you'd have all sorts of sparkling, spectacular news. But unfortunately I don't, so I'm just delivering, don't shoot the messenger, I'm just telling you what he said yesterday." But there was nothing new, a bit of regurgitation of previous policies, particularly a bit more chit and chat about the bankers' bonus tax, but because there was an election in the offing, there was nothing of any significance announced then, except a change to entrepreneur relief. What's entrepreneur relief, you shout? Well, I'm going to tell you about that in due course. I'm going to tell you everything you've ever wanted to know about entrepreneur relief, but the one key thing that he announced there was that he was doubling the threshold. He was making entrepreneur relief more attractive from the 6th of April 2010. And I will explain the perversity of entrepreneur relief and that measure in a moment. But so that was headline grabbing. What then did we have? Well, we had a Finance Act, truncated of course, not much in it. The important stuff was passed, all the unimportant stuff was ditched. And then we had a general election on the 6th of May, that day of days. So the general election, of course, hung Parliament, first time in my memory. I remember when Major won the election in '92, and at that time people were saying it will be a hung Parliament, it will be a hung Parliament, and I don't know, but I thought, well, actually I quite like that chap Major. I'd be happy if he got back in. I mean, it's without wishing to expose my deep political leanings, and he did. He won. So that hung Parliament worry went out of the window, and thereafter, of course, it was Labour landslide after Labour landslide, and but then here we are, all the pundits saying it's going to be a hung Parliament, and I was thinking, oh, I don't know, never seen one of those before, and we've got it. There we've got it. So we then had that hiatus period, which is all very interesting for political commentators, but eventually David Cameron and his friend Nick Clegg managed to do a deal, and Mr Cameron got his feet under the door of 10 Downing Street, and I think that was sort of on the 11th of May, I might be wrong there. Now, the next thing is very important. It's not quite so important as I stand here now, because it's slightly been overtaken by events, but there are still some events that haven't yet fully unfolded. So please do not dismiss the importance of this next thing, which is the document that they published on the 19th of May entitled The Coalition, Our Programme for Government. Now, what the hell was that, you shout? Anybody read it? I take that as a no. You didn't miss much. But here it is. Irritatingly, there it is. How many pages? About 38, but some of them are blank, so it don't really count. Some of them are pictures of the boy Dave and the boy Nick being chummy together. Look at that. You can't get more friendly than that, can you? All fantastic stuff. Irritatingly, they chose to use yellow and orange ink on certain parts of it, so when you print it out in a black and white printer, you get not very much. Makes it hard to read, but there it is. There's the document. Now, what was so important about it? What struck me, and I did read it, what struck me was I was expecting some flowery language, idealistic prose that would set out in rather grandiose fashion what they were going to do. But not at all. Not at all. What you got in this document, as I say, about 38 pages, give or take some blanks, but it is pithy, to the point sentences, basically. You might call them paragraphs, but broadly speaking, each paragraph is only one sentence long, and they say things which universally start with the words, we will. Now, I have highlighted certain things which are tax orientated because I'm here to talk to you about tax, not social policy. But to give you a flavour about some of the things that they say we will do, I just pick at random. We will give the public the opportunity to challenge the worst regulations. Well, there you go. Fantastic. Always want to do that. We will promote the radical devolution of power and greater financial authority to local government and community groups. Good, right, excellent. We will restore rights to non-violent protest. We will review libel laws. We will introduce safeguards against the misuse of anti-terrorism legislation. We will further regulate CCTV. Just a handful, I'm just reading them off. It's just lists and lists and lists of we will do this, we will do the other. But what the reason it's interesting is not so much that, but the tax ones. So I will read you a few of the tax ones, just to give you a flavour where we're going. We will protect jobs by stopping the proposed jobs tax, and I will return to that in detail in a little while. We will commit to establishing an independent commission to review the long-term affordability of public sector pensions while protecting accrued rights. But here come the tax ones. Here come the tax ones. And this is a long one. I'm going to read it to you, but it's a long one. We will increase the personal allowance for income tax to help lower and middle income earners. We will announce in the first budget a substantial increase in the personal allowance from April 2011, with the benefits focused on those with lower and middle incomes. This will be funded with the money that would have been used to pay for the increase in employee national insurance thresholds proposed by the Conservative Party, as well as revenues from increases in capital gains tax rates for non-business assets. Then they go on. We will further increase the personal allowance to £10,000, making real term steps each year. We will seek ways of taxing non-business capital gains at rates similar or close to those applied to income. We will make every effort to tackle tax avoidance, including detailed development of Liberal Democrat proposals. So lots and lots of we will do this, we will do that. Now, let's put that to one side. It's enough reading that.